some cool riffs like... There you go, I played it right that time. Hello my fellow troubadours. A couple of weeks ago I did a video on three essential Clapton tunes that are great additions to your solo acoustic gigs. And many of you requested or were curious about why not Tears in Heaven? Why wasn't that one of them? And the truth is that I had originally planned to have that be the third song. But when I came down to it, it would have been way too involved. And that video was already like a half an hour long. So I decided to do a lesson dedicated entirely to this totally awesome song. And I placed a link in the description to the other Clapton video for you to check out after this one if you like. Don't click off of this one. Don't do it. The reason I think this is a great song is because, well, it's a great song. And this song is a really good opportunity to learn some, maybe perhaps different right-hand claw, fingerstyle-ish techniques that you might not be familiar with. And as if all of those reasons weren't enough, it requires us to be a little more subtle and delicate in our delivery, both on guitar and vocally. So you don't need to be a hard ass all the time. You can show them your softer side, and this is a great song to do that. Also, when you get the song down, I'll show you how you can grab a loop and, you'd have a little solo section. So if you grab the verse section, coming out of that bridge, you have a little solo section that you can do just like they do in the original. And I'll also take some time to show you not only the loop section, but there's some cool riffs like... There you go, I played it right that time. I'll show you that little riff, and once you listen to the record, you'll kind of get a feel for where to put it. All right, let's get into it. But before we do, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you'd like to further support this channel and help me create new content, you could join my Patreon or just buy me a coffee. I love coffee. Actually, look, I always have coffee close by. I dropped something. All right, let's get into it. The first section we're going to cover is the intro section, and it's also like the interlude section. In other words, it's also the section that kind of caps off each section of the song. Okay? So the song starts with the intro. It sounds like this. Okay. In general with this song, our thumb is going to be playing either the low E string or the A string. And our first and second finger, for example, if we're on the A chord, the way we usually play it in this song is our first and second finger are going to be playing the G and the B string. So an A chord in this song, our thumb is playing the A note, the A string, and our first finger and second finger are playing the G and B string, and we're just fingering an A chord like this. Now, sometimes we can play it where our first finger is playing the D string, our second finger is playing the G string, our third finger is playing the B string, and we could play the full A chord depending on where we are in the song and if we want to. But in general, the chords for the intro section. A, played like that with a bar, and we're only playing the G and the B string. E with a G sharp in the bottom, and we're fingering it like this. I'll put up a chord chart for you. And our thumb is playing the low G sharp. And again, first and second finger are playing the G string and the B string. Our third finger is on the 4th fret G string. Our pinky is on the 5th fret B string. So we got this. Then we have an F sharp minor. It's actually an F sharp minor 7th, but we're only playing the low E string, which is the F sharp, and the G string and the B string again with our first and second finger. So we got. Now we could could occasionally sneak in that third finger and play the high E string. Maybe. Nothing's written in stone, and you'll hear some variations on the record. Okay, so that's the next chord, F sharp minor. Then we're going to play an F sharp minor, but with the low E open. So it's the same fingering. You can call it, I guess, an A with an E in the bass, or you can call it an F sharp minor 7th, I guess, because the E is technically that, but neither here nor there. So the E chord, the F sharp minor chord, then we take off the 2nd fret and we play the low E open. Then we're going to play a D chord, but we're only going to play, we don't need to play the whole chord. We're going to just finger it like this. 3rd finger, 2nd fret G string, 4th finger, 3rd fret B string. And we're playing it with an F sharp in the bass. Alright? Then we're lifting that 2nd finger off again and playing the low E string. So then we're going to take our 1st finger and move it down to the 1st fret G string. So the chords for the intro section: A, E slash G sharp, F sharp minor, take off the 2nd finger, D over F sharp, take off the 2nd finger again, drop the 1st finger down to the 1st fret G string, back to the A chord, and for that you might want to play the full A chord. Let's get into how it's actually played. We start with a hammer-on the low E from the open to the 2nd fret. So then we play the A string. Now we're fingering this A chord. Our 1st finger is going to play the 2nd fret G string, which is the A note. So then our 2nd finger is going to play the B string. We're going to hammer on the 3rd fret. And then we're going to play, with our 1st finger, we're going to play the G string again. Our 1st finger on the left hand really isn't doing much movement. That's the 1st riff. Then we go to that E chord, and we're going to pluck or claw the low E string and the G string and the B string with our 1st and 2nd finger. And that's kind of a rule for this song. That's kind of how we're going to play every chord. Then we go down to the F sharp. Again, we're going to claw the bottom, the low E string, and the 3rd and 2nd strings. So we're going to pivot back and forth. Then we lift the 2nd finger. Again, we're going to pluck them all. And we're going to pivot back and forth. So really slow. Then we're going to play that D over F sharp. Then the whole A chord. So really slow. Now on this D part, you can kind of, you're pivoting. Now I'm playing them all together again. So pivoting. That thumb kind of keeps going. And I'm ending it on the A chord. One more time straight through. Pivoting. With the embellishment, it sounds like this. You may or may not want to do that embellishment. I'll show you what the fingerings are for it later in the video. I think it's an overdub on the record. I don't think Clapton is breaking out into that section. It's just an overdub, but it does sound cool. So if you could pull it off, it's a little tricky. Kind of screw it up a lot myself, but that is the intro section. So now the first part of the verse, very, very similar to the intro. The only kind of difference is when we get to the D chord part, okay? It doesn't have that little kind of like finish off part. It doesn't have that. So, would you know my name? Same thing. Back to that D over F sharp. And instead of just opening up the low E string, we open it up, but we drop our fourth finger down to the second fret of the B string. So if I saw you, oh, voice is shot today. If I saw you in heaven, then our first finger goes to the first fret of the G string, which is like an E chord. So if I saw you in heaven. Second and third finger on the third and second string, right? Then we slide that up to the fourth fret G string, third fret B string. So, if I saw you in heaven. And we're always pivoting back and forth. If I saw you in heaven. Then it goes back to the A chord for the second part of the verse. He doesn't do that again for the second part. So coming out of the intro, okay, into the verse. Here we go. One other thing I should mention is, now that you have all the chords for the intro section, there's a little variation that he does. Let me show you. And it's on the D chord. Ah. What is he doing there? So, it's thumb playing the low E string, as usual, with our second finger on the second fret. Our first and second fingers are playing the G string and the B string for the D chord. But then we're going to play that B string again, and our third finger, is going to play the high E string. Then we play open E with the thumb, and second and third finger on the second fret of G and B string for that little baby A chord, I guess you can call it. So, okay. Would you know my name? No riff. Be the same. If I saw you in heaven. Now this little, I guess the second half of the verse you can call it, or the, it's not really a pre, I don't know what you'd call it, but the second half of the verse. I must be strong, right? Back to that F sharp minor chord. D, 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 D. Then we're playing a D shape, but it's actually a D flat chord. Okay? check it out. Instead of it being here, it's first finger, first fret G string, third finger, second fret B string, second finger, first fret E string, and our thumb is going to play the F on the bottom. So it's a D flat over F. So, I must be strong. And we're always doing that pivoting back and forth. Then we lift off everything, but we keep our third finger down on the second fret of the B string. And we play the open E. And our first finger is playing the G string and the B string. So it's an A7 chord. So, must be strong. D flat chord with an F in the bottom. Everything comes off except the third finger. And carry on. F sharp 7 chord. But we're only playing 3 notes really. We can kind of get away with playing the high E string if we want to use all 3 fingers. But it's thumb on the low E as always. First finger on the G string, second finger on the B string, and we can kind of sneak in that third finger on the high E. Right? So open B, second fret B, and B minor 7th. But we're just playing our thumb on the A string, and again our first and second fingers on the G and B string. It's okay? Right. Low E open. That little kind of ending riff, which is the same fingering, but he's only playing the G and the B string. Then it's that intro riff. Caps off every section. There's that little pickup to a C chord. And you can kind of claw the middle 4 strings, right? Right? You can even kind of do it all if you want to use all 4 fingers. I don't. Time can bring. So the chords. C, time can. G over B, bring you down. A minor. Time can. D over F sharp, bend your knees. G. D over F sharp. E minor. We could play E minor 7th. D over F sharp, G, back to the beginning. Time can make your heart have you beg and plead. Beg and plead. Now we'll get into how it ends. Let's go through it one more time. And I'm using this claw technique the whole time. Kind of playing the whole chord. I'm playing the A string, and I'm using my first, second, and third fingers to play the G string, B string, and E string. Use your ears. You're using this claw technique the whole time. What notes you choose to pick out, I mean, it's really kind of up to you. Listen to the record, and it's not an exact science. You can kind of vary it. He does on the record. That can bring A minor, D/F sharp, and your knees, G. Here I'm just kind of playing the middle strings. I'm not playing the high E. E minor. Time can break your heart, have you beg and please. Beg and please. Now it ends the same way the verse section ends. So it's first finger, first fret G string. We're playing just the G string and the B string with our first and second fingers. Then we're playing the 2nd fret on the G string and B string with our 2nd and 3rd fingers. Then we're sliding our 3rd finger up to the 4th fret G string, and our 2nd finger is playing the 3rd fret B string. Solo section. Now, if we grab the loop, which I'll show you how to do, when we first start playing the verse section, in. We want to be in on the downbeat of the verse section. Then we have a loop that we can let it play, and we can do the solo if we want. We can do it our own way. We could just, I don't know, play some various voicings over it. Okay, so again, coming out of the bridge. Does that little where it kind of hangs. That is pretty much every section of the song. Okay, let's get into that riff that I've been showing you. And it happens right out of the gate at the intro. And then pretty much throughout the whole song. There's just 1 or 2 spots where he doesn't do it, but it kind of is always there, and you'll hear it now that I pointed it out to you when you listen to the record. But take our 3rd finger, and we're going to bar the bottom 2 strings on the 5th fret, but we're just going to slide it right up to the 7th fret, and we're going to use our 1st and 2nd finger to play those 2 notes. So... tough to play. Then when we come back, our 2nd finger goes down on the 4th fret. It's right there. Right? And then we're going to use our 1st and 2nd finger to play the G string and B string. And we're going to slide this pattern up. So then we're just going to play that little bottom section of the A chord. We're barring the 2nd fret, and we're playing the G string and the B string. If you can pull that off in the middle, in the right spots where it goes, it really is cool. Okay, listen to the record and you'll see where it goes. I don't want to spend too much time nitpicking every section where it happens, okay, because it's really not going to do you any good. You're going to need to listen to the record anyway, because you're not going to just remember every spot where it happens. So, but now that you know how to play it, it's really, really a cool thing to have. Now, let's get into the looping part and how we can grab a loop, because it's a little bit tricky. Keep in mind that this song starts on the pickup. 1, 2, 3, 4, down. Our downbeat isn't until we play that A chord. So when we click in to grab our loop at the beginning of the verse, we're not doing it on that. In, always on a downbeat. In. Okay? Now I'm going to show you how to grab a loop of the verse section. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to kind of finagle it so that we can get it and then get out of it so we don't screw ourselves up. I'll show you what I mean in real time, because we want to capture the verse section, but remember, the solo only happens over the beginning part of the verse section, right? And then it goes into that beyond the door, okay? So we're going to have to be a little bit nimble in how we work it. But the most important thing is that we grab a clean section of the verse that we have to click into when we come out of the bridge. So let me show you how to do it, and I'll talk you through it. It's going to take some practice. This is like a bonus section. We're coming out of the intro, and we're going to get ready to grab our verse. Ready? In. We're in the verse section. Click out here if you have a stop button. Out. Now I have a stop button, so I can click stop and I'll be out of that loop, but I have it recorded. Okay? If you don't have a stop button, it's a little bit more difficult, because if you go to click out of the loop and end the loop, it's going to start playing that loop over again, which is going to screw you up. So for me, because I have a stop button on my loop pedal, I can click out of it and I have just the section I want. If you don't, you'd have to grab the whole entire verse section. Okay? Now if you don't have a stop button, the other way you can do it is you grab the whole entire verse section. Okay? With the "Me on the door," right? Then when you go to click out of it, it's going to start playing the whole thing again. So you got to kind of click out of it and then stop it. Let me show you what that would be like in real time. In. Okay. Still in. Still in. Out. Right? Now it's playing. Now we have to just stop this while we're playing the riff with it. Alright? Otherwise it's going to go into the ba ba da ba. Now remember, we want to be doing that because we're doing the cap off section. So we have a little bit of time to end the loop, have it play along with us, and then stop it while we continue to play what is the intro section. I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to explain this as best as I could. Okay? But now we have this whole section queued up. So when we're coming out of the bridge, right? Begging, please. And I clicked my loop. Right? Beyond the door. Now if you would loop the whole section, you have that section in your loop, but if you looped it the way I did the first time, you'd have to click out and start playing the "Me on the door" on your own. Okay, it's a matter of how you use your loop pedal and what kind of loop pedal you have. But I'm just trying to bring attention to you to the fact that you can loop the verse section, play the solo, and then get out of it and get back into the song, which really makes it cool, because now you got really the complete song. All right? You have now all of the sections of this song. There's no other parts that I did not explain to you. You listen to that record and, you know, learn where all the sections go. Practice it with the record. Practice it with the loop pedal. And you got yourself a nice little Eric Clapton set if you combine it with the other video that I did on the 3 Eric Clapton songs, which is in the link at the end of this video. Click on it and check it out. I'm Frank Persico. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.